I think this is the most appropriate title for a YouTube clip of 2025. That's only half the story. Like, that's important. But like, why are the raids happening from a material basis?
There are three things Trump has done to make abusing the H-2A system to the point of slavery much easier in the United States. First off, those 2024 anti-slavery reforms he rolled back in June of 2025. Second, he cut down on the minimum wage. Every year, there is a survey that is done to determine what the minimum wage for H-2A should be. Within the last few days of recording this, they rolled out a whole new kind of math they use to calculate that, and wouldn't you know it, it is $2 to $3 per hour less. So that's the second big important change they've made to the H-2A system. And third, now that we have made slavery easier and cut the minimum wage, we have declared that we have to rapidly expand this H-2A program now that it's a lot more lax. And why do we have to rapidly expand this lax H-2A program? Well, because there's no farm workers anymore. This is an emergency. Well, how did that happen? And so this is the thing that
Did you hear that?
some farm worker groups
Like,
have
there
been
it is. I've been telling you, pay attention. Did you hear that? Let's just wind the clock back for a second there.
H-2A program. Well, because there's no farm workers anymore. This is we have to.
So we've squeezed the slavery issues out, so people can do a bit of slavery. Us slavery. If you want to do us slavery, you can do us slavery just like you could pre 2024. And we're cutting down like this story about having to, charge them a certain amount, pay them a certain amount, sorry. So we've wiped out those two things. But then the ICE raids that are going on at the moment have constrained the industry. So there's less workers out there. Hey, it's all lining up now. Let's shore up the H-2A program that is effectively people trapped on sites and trapped with particular companies, so they can't move around like free laborers like they were before. So they're stuck with a particular organization or stuck on a particular farm, and then all of a sudden, there's a massive gap in the market. All the undocumenteds have stopped. Hey, those free laborers, hey, those freelancers that were fishing around for the best employer, all of a sudden they've disappeared.
Have to rapidly expand this H-2A program now that it's a lot more lax. And why do we have to rapidly expand this lax H-2A program? Well, because there's no farm workers anymore. This is an emergency. Well, how did that happen? And so this is the thing that some farm worker groups have been trying to point out. I think the attention has really gone to the ICE raids, right? Because the ICE raids are out in public. They are very visible. There are armed thugs marching through our streets, disappearing people, right? That's pretty hard to miss. But you got to understand that these ICE raids are not about getting immigrants out of the country. They're not about getting rid of immigrants. Farmers are always going to have their workers. How? How do farmers get their workers? We want to change how farmers are getting their workers. Instead of freelance undocumented people, we want to push the farm workforce towards H-2A. Because we just made all these little changes to make H-2A a lot more accommodating to employers, to make it a lot easier to get away with stuff, so you don't have to even try to pay people as much anymore. So this is something that farm worker groups have been trying to draw some attention to. Yes, the ICE raids are happening, but why? There is a larger strategy here, and that is to push farm labor towards H-2A, where now you can, low-key, you can enslave people and not get in a lot of trouble for it.
You can do
a
slavery.
This program is really prone to slavery already. Put in some fixes, and Trump has already rolled those fixes back. So again, the ICE raids are a very important and very visible story, but they are only half the story. The other half is forced labor. I don't think it's unrealistic to think some of the folks being imprisoned in places like Alligator Alcatraz are also going to be put to work. That is...
Yes, I've speculated on that too. I know people in the chat have speculated on this one. But hey, it's not hard to think at some point, with all of these people mounting in these concentration camps all over the US at the moment, and they're not being processed before. Like before, when they used to get picked up by Homeland Security, like they might be going out on bail and then they'd have to come back to face court at some point in the future, like in 3 months' time or something. At the moment, a lot of them are just being held. So 3 months indefinitely, no trial, and they're just held sitting in a camp somewhere. So what's going to happen eventually? It's going to come to a point where these people are like, hey, they're sitting around doing nothing. Actually, you know what? They're leeching off the system. We have to feed them and house them. Let's put them to work. And everyone's going to be like, yeah, they came here illegally anyway. Let's put them to work. And they're going to get visa status. They're going to be fast processed H-2A visas all of a sudden, and they will be allotted to a farm allotted to a farm or an agency and shipped around the country in seasonal times and like servicing the agricultural sector. Maybe other parts of industry as well. Maybe they'll go to industry too. There'll be people like that put their hands up in like parts of America that are reindustrializing and they're like, look, we need laborers, we need workers on the factory floor. All right, let's expand the H2A outside of the Department of Agriculture to just, well, it's already facilitated by the Department of Labor. So let's get the Department of Labor to expand the H2A provisions to allow for critical industries. And then bang, you can start moving these people. You want to be here? Fine. Then you got to go on this visa and then bang, straight onto fucking, I don't know, straight onto working in some necessary industry or something like that. This is mental. I've been looking for the link for ages. I know we all have as well. Like, what are they fucking doing here? And what are they going to actually do with these people potentially in the facilities? Like all of these, yeah, like she's mentioned Alligator Alcatraz. I'm pretty sure they shut that down because of some legal process. But like, there's so many of these places out where all these people are just sitting around. Like these are valuable laborers here in a capitalistic mindset. Like all those people sitting around, they're just mouths to feed. Like you put them to fucking work. And here it comes. And like, you know, it's not just going to be them. They're going to round up all the anti-capitalists and the trans Tifa warriors. So all of you people, hey, you're all trans Tifa. You're somehow classified as anti-establishment. You'll be rounded up too and put in a fucking concentration camp. Seriously. Yeah, some good investigation here, mystery. How crazy is this woman? Like, where is the conversation that she's having being amplified elsewhere? Like, elsewhere. You have to go straight to, this, like, with most things, I guess. You have to go straight to the experts in the field to cut through, again, like, to cut through the culture wars. Like, don't get me wrong, the ICE raids are outrageous. And so people should be, if they're upset, protesting out the front of ICE detention centers because that draws attention to it, and it definitely does draw some great attention to it. In my opinion, the reason why people are starting to change their minds, like we looked at that fucking Joe Rogan one clip the other day, and Joe Rogan was kind of like, you know, being sad about like people that are being ripped away from their families, and like, man, these people don't have a heart. Kind of thing, like, you know, what are they up to? And he was like getting all upset about that one. You're like, well, you know, you kind of are the reason why this is happening. Like, you did encourage people to vote for Trump, and now you're a bit upset that like the ICE raids are a little bit too much, and they're like helping you, you know, you're losing sleep at night. Like, people are starting to notice how outrageous the ICE raids are because of the attention that is constantly being drawn to them by people that are protesting. But like, I think this is the most appropriate title for a YouTube clip of 2025. That's only half the story. Like, that's important. But like, why are the raids happening from a material basis? It is cutting the supply of undocumented workers, which is the argument you hear from a lot of people that support this stuff. It's just like, well, these fucking employers shouldn't be hiring them in the first place. They shouldn't be going to illegals. They should be hiring Americans. And you're like, well, yeah, you're right. Actually, they should be hiring Americans, but there may not be Americans that are there to do the job easily and readily available in the market. But if you have a system like a H-2A visa system that you can push people onto and then help, you know, you can refine or deregulate to make it a slavery, then like, why not just do it that? Round up the illegals everywhere and just give them all H-2A visas. And then they're kind of trapped in a particular industry where the labor is necessary. Remember, we talked about how, you know, you can analyze capitalism from a Marxian perspective. Capitalism is about controlling labor, the power of free labor. And like, this is the story. Undocumented workers were almost like free laborers. No, they were free laborers. They just were illegal free laborers. And like, what do? You need those people. Make them legal. Make them legal. Don't make them citizens. Make them legal and control them better. This is absolutely like, this is the revelation of the year since Trump has started. Like, this is what it's about. Controlling labor. They don't give a fuck about making America great again in the culture war sense and like making America for Americans. They want this underclass and they don't care if they're not Americans. They don't want to improve the prospects and the job opportunities for Americans. They don't want to improve their job prospects at all. They do want these laborers, but they're kind of hard to control at the moment. So like, let's just control labor better. This is fucked. And like, I hate constantly being surprised by this stuff, but here I am. I'm pretty surprised, to be honest.
Remember, I am, you are, we are a mystery.